Righty. Okay, good morning, everybody. Glad to see you again. Guess I'm going to have to tell you to start joining the meeting at 10 minutes late instead of 10 minutes after, but that's all right. Excuse me a second. So, excuse me, oh, got a bunch of people joining, so I'm going to take another minute. Okay, well, let's get started. And oops, let me change this here. Okay, so good morning, everybody. We got a couple of really interesting presentations this morning, so I want to make sure we have plenty of time for that and any updates that we need to know about. So as always, want to thank our sponsors, Valley Telecom Group, Care First Health Plan, Khajiit, Triad Wireless, and Karen Ziegler Consulting Services. Do we have, well, I know we have several new people this morning. Let me see who we got here. So Strider, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Good morning. My name is Strider Dennison. I am the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing for WeCom Fiber.
Great. Well, I'm glad you're here. I actually tried to get a hold of you folks to do a presentation to the group, but never got a response back from you guys. So let's talk.
Yeah, well, I'd be your guy that you'd want to follow up with, and thank you to Elena for the invite. So I'm looking forward to being a part of your guys's council or committee.
Great. Thanks, Strider. I'll be in touch with you. Amelia, we're going to introduce you later. Andrew Schwartzberg, would you introduce yourself, please? Andrew, are you there? Well, maybe he'll be back.
Can you hear me?
Oh, now I can hear you.
Okay, sorry about that. I had a problem with my audio. Yeah, I'm Andrew Schwartzberg, and I'm the grants manager at Rio Salado College. And Heather Tyler had forwarded me the invite to see what this is all about. So thank you for having me.
Great. As you may have heard me comment earlier, we've been over Rio Salado many years doing lots of great events over there. You guys took great care of us.
Excellent.
And let's see who else we have that's new. David Krasa, you haven't been here for a while. You want to introduce yourself real quick? Are you there? Yeah, maybe he'll be back.
Sorry, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Hey,
there
everybody. David Krasa, Innovation Project Manager over at City of Mesa, doing Internet of Things, public Wi-Fi, smart city, all those fun things. Good to be here.
Yeah, you guys are doing great stuff over there. And Damien will introduce you in just a little while. See if we have anybody else that's new that I missed. Anybody else that I missed this morning? Tabitha, could you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. As I said, I'm Tabitha Peden. I'm with Rio Salado College. I myself also was invited by Heather Tyler. I'm moving over to her team and hopefully becoming a regular face here.
Great. So you guys are here in force today.
We are kind of building a new little team together. So we're kind of helping Heather out and see where we can reach out and take on some projects.
Sounds great. Thank you. And I think that's everybody that's new. Did I miss anybody that's new today? Okay, so let's just jump into our agenda this morning. Erin, you want to do a quick update on what's happening with the broadband office, please?
Sure thing. My name is Erin Larandos. I'm the Digital Equity Program Manager at the Arizona Commerce Authority. And I just have to say, I'm so glad that the conversation with Heather was so fruitful, because it seems like we just doubled in numbers here because of a short conversation.
really.
So it's fantastic. So not a ton to report from the broadband office. You know, we are still closing out the challenge process, as folks are aware, preparing to, you know, roll up all of what we found out and send that over to NTIA for their approval. Probably still shooting for like the beginning of next month to do that. So we're right on track with all of that. Not a ton on the digital equity side either. As this group may remember, we have submitted our capacity grant application and are just waiting to go through the process of approval for that. And then as soon as balls start rolling, we will be able to share more about the various work that will come up next. So if there are any questions for me, I'd be happy to take those. Otherwise, thanks as always for the opportunity.
So Aaron, can you, I know you've done this probably several times for us, but can you again just give us a quickie update about the process of where you are with the subgrantee application process, please?
Well, for both BEAD and digital equity right now, we're kind of waiting. You know, we're in this gray area just because things need to be approved before we can move on to the next steps. So for the BEAD process, you know, the challenge process will create the maps that the subgrantees will ultimately be bidding on, if you will, or applying for in those project areas. But we have to wait for volume 2 to be approved before we can move further down that path. For the DE side of things, kind of the same deal. We're in a waiting process right now with NTIA before we can really dive into the next steps of that process too. So most subgrantee processes will kick off officially in the fall, and between now and then we will be able to share more as more comes to light.
Okay, thank you, Aaron.
Of course.
Okay, moving on. So I don't think he made it this morning yet, but I spoke to Nick Capazzi, who is with the governor's office. He is, at least for now, is taking Maggie Ferry's place and dealing with broadband-related issues. And so he was going to try to make it this morning. And when he is available, we will introduce him to you, and he'll give you kind of an update on what the next plans are. So he's apparently not here yet today. Nicole, want to give us a quick update? What's happening with NTIA?
Hey,
And
good morning.
introduce yourself, please.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Nicole Umaim. I'm the Federal Program Officer with NTIA. I'm the Grant Administrator for the BEAD and Digital Equity Act programs in Arizona, and also a liaison between all of our stakeholders here and the federal government. And I get to work with the broadband office, which is one of my favorite parts of the job. Steve, I don't really have updates. As Aaron mentioned, it's because all of us are heads down in reviews of the BEAD initial proposals and the digital equity capacity grants. So, and the next NOFO, or notice of funding opportunity, that we're awaiting is the competitive grant for digital equity. That one is still going to be released soon, but you know, there's not much we can share publicly about that one yet.
Okay, thank you. Aaron, you added an announcement about Yavapai County. You want to just announce that quickly?
Oh, sure. So apologies for going back out of order, but on Monday, up in Yavapai County, Corey Christians is hosting a digital equity event that kind of kicks off the local planning for Yavapai County. And so he did ask that we share out that information. So I apologize for missing that, but there's a flyer in the chat for folks who are interested.
Okay, thank you, Aaron. And I will share
familiar faces on there.
I will share that that flyer when I send out my next newsletter. So Elena, do you want to give us a quick update? I understand Brenna won't be here this morning. Give us a quick update. Anything new and different with ACP or anything else federal?
Well, yeah, so I'm Elena Lowry. I work with Brenna at Common Sense Media. And we basically try to create a safe and healthy and equitable digital world for kids and families. So that's largely who we are. We do a lot of advocacy work around those areas. So sadly, we think the Cantwell bill is dead. Unfortunately, they canceled the commerce markup on or the commerce hearing at the committee last week, or yeah, it was supposed to be last, I think, Thursday. So the Department of Defense still has concerns over the spectrum auction provisions in the Cantwell bill. So all the attention now appears to be shifting to the Lujan Vance bipartisan bill, which is Senate Bill 4317, if anybody wants to look that up. And that would provide $6 billion ACP funding with a more limited spectrum auction provision. The goal is to try to get 60 votes to support that bill, and there are 7 Republican co-sponsors so far. So if you have the ability or the opportunity to reach out to your legislative leaders, now would be a good time. It's not looking really good, folks. So sadly, there's nothing good to report.
Okay, thank you, Elena. Anybody have anything else they want to add to that? Okay, moving on. Just a reminder that most of the stuff that you hear about will be links and contact information will be in my follow-up newsletter. So you can check on things as you need to. So there are lots of activities, and I included many of them in the newsletter, but I wanted to highlight just a couple of things. Just a reminder that next week, June 26th, there'll be a workforce outreach summit, building Southern Arizona's workforce talent pipeline from 9 to 1:30 at the Fred Acosta Job Corps Center. And I do have that in the newsletter. And if you're interested in attending, you need to contact Vaughn Croft. There is no online registration, so you have to contact Vaughn Croft and give him a call. Next thing is on the 25th, is your community ready for BEAD? The webinar will catch everyone on the catch up on the basics of the BEAD program and rules in Arizona, presented by the Arizona Regional Economic Development Foundation, Arizona Broadband for All, and the Center for Rural Innovation. The next thing, which I personally have, you've heard me talk many times about the Arizona Economic Recovery Resource Centers. They're having a foundation funding workshop, excuse me, on June the 26th. And again, that information and link is in my newsletter. And then next, Peter, you want to give us a quick announcement about the workshop you're doing?
Sure, thanks. So next month we are
Peter, got to introduce yourself.
Oh, yes. So Peter Costa, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Baltu Technologies. We're a local startup, and we're a social impact company with a mission to connect community, industry, and education through upskilling and training. So with that, next month we got some funding from Jobs for the Future and ASU, and we're going to be holding a free fiber optic training program at the downtown Mesa Library. So the way the program works is we have an online platform that individuals are going to be going through at kind of a self-paced learn, and it's aligned with Fiber Optic Association standards. At the end of each week, there are in-person hands-on modules. So we have an employer partner that comes in, does training. We're going to be going everywhere from safety, cable prep, cable splicing, testing, termination. And at the end, everybody gets guaranteed interviews with our employer partners. So we're still accepting applications. So I posted a link where people can learn more about the program. And it's totally free. And we're planning on rolling these out really anywhere, not only across the state, So these are what we call like pop-up classrooms that could be done in rural areas. But we're also looking at putting them in different parts across the country. So really it's just around increasing access to a lot of the available training.
Peter, do you want to talk about it all? Any partners that you're looking for? Community colleges, libraries? Obviously, you have a partnership already with Mason Public Library. Do you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah. Really, we engage with any community partner. So this could be a community college, a high school, a nonprofit. We have one group that's a fair chance hiring group. They want to have the training at their offices, and so we're it's really around getting access to the different folks that want access to training. And then employer partners. So if you're an employer and want to start building a pipeline, we can help host these trainings at your facility or at other areas. There's some grant funding that we're applying for where we'd be able to cover the stipend of like the equipment or material. And then at the end, just really getting a kind of group of employers that want to provide guaranteed interviews for anyone that completes the program. So employer partners are what we're looking for, and community partners, and then anybody else that wants to share this with their network. So we just posted like a little post I think 2 days ago. We already have about 15 people signed up that are really interested. So I think there's a lot of people that want these jobs. It's just kind of creating these new pathways for them to get the training that they need.
Great, thanks, Peter. And just
Yeah.
a reminder that this issue has become a top priority issue, particularly in the beat space, as we're trying to rolling out all these networks and connectivity. That we need people who are going to be trained with these skills. And so Peter's been doing some innovative kinds of things, has some great partnerships, but it's an important top priority for the state. So thank you, Peter.
Thanks, Steve, for the opportunity.
You bet. So moving on, let me just check and see who's joined here real quickly.
Really quickly while you do that, Steve, quick question for Pete.
Okay.
So no kind of offering of that down here in Southern Arizona. It's really kind of a Mesa Library thing right now, but I'm hearing you say that if there was a partner down here like Pima or Pima Aviation or something like that, that wanted to help host a training, you would come down and do it.
Yeah. Actually, I'm meeting with Brian Carter right now at Dunbar Center. So we're looking at doing one of these maybe at Dunbar.
Oh, that would be amazing. I just did an event on Friday at Dunbar. As the mother of a 21-year-old who chooses not to engage in higher ed right now, just because of the cost benefit on that right now, this is an amazing opportunity for these kind of 18. So no skills needed, kind of show up, and then a hungry job market because people are really looking to ramp up on this.
You got it. Yeah, that's
awesome.
And we have we just did one in aerospace. So we had about 20 kids at a Tolleson High School. They're seniors. They completed the program. 10 of them wanted to go work at Honeywell. And basically 9 went and got interviewed, and all 9 got hired at Honeywell Aerospace. So we're doing it with semiconductor, advanced manufacturing, looking at data center technicians right now, kind of any skilled technician positions. And then we have on our platform, once people get hired, we have the ability for them to continue to get upskilled and trained when they're on the job. And then we're working with some local community colleges and universities to start actually deliver more of these university and college level courses to folks when they're at work, and so that they're getting industry recognized certifications, college credit. So really trying to help employers increase their retention, reduce turnover, increase their
I think your perfect partner down here is Pima Aviation. So I
Cool.
mean, if
Awesome.
you're not talking to them, let's make that connection, and you guys should host down here.
Okay, yeah, let's chat more offline. There's some folks I'm chatting with, but if there's any new people, totally open with that. So Thank you, Lucy.
So Peter, just FYI, I've been in conversation with Pima Community College, and unfortunately, one of their people who is going to take a lead in looking at some digital equity issues could not be here this morning, but she's definitely interested in getting involved, and I've been talking to her about some of the training programs and things and how Pima might be able to get involved with this stuff. So I'll definitely follow up with you.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody. I appreciate your support, and it takes a team and it takes a whole village to do this stuff. So thanks.
Okay, so I'm going to move on. We've got a couple of presentations this morning. So I need to check in with Amelia and Bill and Damien and Marcos. Do any of you guys have to be out of here like ASAP, or can I just pick some place to start?
I'm good on time, Steve.
Yeah, I just have
sorry.
to be off by, I have to be off by 9, so I have another half hour.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't we go ahead and get started with the Wireless Infrastructure Association. And many of you have met Bill before, Bill D'Agostino, who is president of Eagle Wings, but is actively involved with the Wireless Infrastructure Association. And he has arranged to have Amelia de Jesus, did I pronounce it correctly?
That's close enough.
Okay. She is the WIA Vice President of Workforce Solutions. So I'm going to turn it over to them. And I believe, Amelia, that you have a presentation that you want to share. So I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to you.
I am trying to share right now. You guys can actually see this.
Got it.
Okay, perfect. Bill, why don't you kind of start us off talking about WIA, and then I will talk specifically around workforce solutions.
Yep, happy to do it. Steve, thanks for the opportunity, and everyone. It's great to have a chance to tell you a little bit more about WIA. WIA is the Wireless Infrastructure Association. We are the industry representative of more than 250 companies that make up the wireless broadband infrastructure ecosystem across the country. You can think about our members as the businesses that develop, build, own, and operate broadband infrastructure. Our companies include wireless carriers, the infrastructure providers, professional service firms, and overall, the companies that we represent collectively own more than 135,000 telecommunication facilities around the world. We really focus on public affairs that support the industry, advocacy for a number of things that facilitate growth in the wireless space, and we really have a core capability of workforce development and training and education that we roll out at the state, local, and federal level. Amelia is going to talk to you a lot more about some of those things that we do. We have a couple of models that I think are very strong possibilities to support the workforce efforts in Arizona as well. So thank you again for the chance to share about what WIA does. And Amelia, I'll hand it to you.
Bill. So as Steve introduced, I've been in the industry here for over 25 years, really focused on deployments across the country. I've played roles at the carrier, I've played roles as the infrastructure provider and also service provider, everything from real estate to SIDAC to construction. And then last year joined WIA because they were focused on workforce and making sure that we had a ready, capable workforce, especially with all of this federal funding coming about. I will tell you, having been in the industry for the length of time, I've seen where, projects have stalled out pending permits. We've had delays for crews moving from one project to the next because they follow the money. And so with all of this federal funding, my fear is that we're not going to have the labor resources that's skilled and ready to deploy all of these networks. And we'll have not only a shortage of crews and folks jumping to the highest dollar amount, which means, supply and demand, cost of labor will be more expensive, but we also anticipate concerns with quality and standards. And really, as Bill talked about WIA and our commitment to make sure that we ensure all Americans have access to broadband, while we do that through a lot of advocacy, we're focused on workforce development. About 10 years or so ago, the federal government came to WIA as an association and said, help. We don't have formal training in the industry. We have tower fires. We have folks falling off towers. We need standards, quality, and industry validated training. That's why WIA created their Telecommunications Education Center and got really involved in workforce to be able to support the deployment of broadband across the country. So within our WIA workforce solutions, we have what we call 3 pillars. We have the Telecommunications Industry Registered Apprentice Program. And in fact, TIRAP was registered with the Department of Labor as a national sponsor since 2017. So we're a competency-based program. It's a registered apprenticeship program. I have to update this slide. We're up to 105 employer sponsors across the country. We've got over 4,000 apprentices, but the cool thing is we have over 16 apprentice occupations that are approved. And as Peter referenced, data center technicians, Peter, that's actually the 16th apprenticeship that we got approved through the Department of Labor that can now be used in specific states, even within states that have a state apprenticeship program, because through reciprocity, we can make sure that there's on-the-job training that aligns with these occupations so that folks can continue to grow their careers. I touched on the Telecommunications Education Center. We have over 30 courses. And I didn't mention this at the very beginning, but when we think about deploying broadband, as much as wireless is in our name, we think about workforce from the perspective of the entire industry, because we know that we need a mix of broadband technologies to actually make sure we're bridging the digital divide. So similarly, whereas TIRAP might include a fiber optic technician, a broadband technician, overhead underground technician, our courses also include not just wireless courses, but courses around fiber optics installations, Wi-Fi, DAS in building, and so forth. And I won't go into a lot of details. I know we have limited time. I'll definitely be able to share this deck so you can see more about the tech programming, the curriculum that's offered. One thing I'd like to note is that our offering, while we have in-person courses, we also have online and e-learning, because what we found is you have to meet people where they are. And frankly, you've got folks that may have a job that want to reskill, upskill, or some of them are underemployed where, they may have childcare concerns, elderly concerns, and they want to be able to take some of these courses. So we offer them online through e-learning LMS. And we found that that's been helpful to help in addition to the wraparound services to provide the training and education. And then the last pillar within our workforce solutions, as a government contractor, we work very closely with federal government and states. We're wanting to make sure, as the goal is to bridge this digital divide across the United States, we work very closely with states to help them put together their plan, implement their plan. And what we found is ideally the first step of that is really identifying what the needs are, whether it's labor needs, what the skill gaps look like. And then we bring industry together to make sure that we're aligning what the industry actually needs, and then a solution for that via training and education. The other key thing. And I think, Peter, back to what you said in terms of, making sure that people are aware about these training and getting them engaged. What we've found is that, sometimes telecom is the best kept secret. Folks know their cell phone, but they don't know anything behind the scenes in terms of careers that are available in our industry or even around our industry. So we've been spending a lot of time making sure that we're increasing career awareness and industry awareness so we can really entice, whether it's, young folks or incarcerated population, underemployed, unemployed, to join the industry and take advantage of some of the training and education to join this workforce that we so desperately need. So that's basically it in a nutshell. Any questions? What I also wanted to share, as Arizona is so focused on making sure that they think and include the tribal nations and diversity, we've been spending a lot of time with the state of Ohio leading their sector partnership. We've also been working very closely with Vermont to expand out their apprenticeship. So our hope is that we can partner with Arizona and this team here to make sure that we are very aligned on providing not just really high paying and good jobs, but careers so that Arizona residents can really have these careers that expand to take them into that 21st century and grow their economic.
Great. Amelia, can you stop sharing, please? Unless you have anything more to share.
No. Stop sharing.
So, oops, let me change this real quickly.
Steve, I want to be mindful of time, so I didn't go through the entire deck. I just touched on things that I think would be very pertinent to the attendees on the call, but I could absolutely share the deck. And if folks have questions, please feel free to ask them.
Okay, so Bill, maybe you want to talk. I know you asked me the other day, so what are all these different groups? I'm going to all these different meetings and stuff. So can you talk just a little bit about, where you're involved with here in Arizona and what can we do to help get you connected, you and Amelia connected to things happening here in Arizona?
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks for the help in that area. As I've been joining and listening to multiple different calls, I reached out to Steve and said, I just need a little help understanding the lay of the land here. It was very, very helpful. Of course, the AZBSN, this session is one that I've been participating in for a while. And then there is the ATIC, which is the many of you are familiar with. And as I understand it, that is the kind of overarching organization that AZBSN spun out of. I'm also going to be attending the workforce session next week to try and learn a little bit more and meet a few more people there. And my goal is just to help the WIA and to help the state be aware of the resources that the Wireless Infrastructure Association has available, and to partner with the organizations that are interested in some of the material that we have, and just to kind of find our way through that process.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Bill. Any questions for Bill? Obviously, it will be helpful if you've got connections with different organizations around the state to help spread the word and how to get in contact with Bill.
Yeah.
So any other questions for Bill or Amelia before we move on?
Is there someone in the state that's putting together a description of the needs for BEAD deployment from various companies? Is that being organized in the state of Arizona?
WI is not currently engaged for that specific task at this point, but I have spent some time with Sandeep, sharing with him some of what the other states are working on and how we're approaching it. So I know we're going to continue those conversations because, again, that I see that as one of the first steps in identifying what the specific needs of the states are before we can then work on what the solutions might be.
Yeah, and I would add, Aaron, we've been just, observing and watching where we are in terms of the process that you update us on, each week. It feels like it's a little early, for us until you are, through with, approval of volume 2, but I suspect that a lot of these things will start to come forward once volume 2 is approved. And so that's why we're just trying to stay as closely connected as we can now.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head, Bill. I think, a lot of this is just not quite there yet. And so as we move through the summer months and get closer to the fall, I'm sure a lot will kind of fall into place. And that's about all I can say, because as this group knows, we do have an open RFP for some of these pieces as far as BEAD is concerned. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
So, anything else from Bill or Amelia?
No,
So
thank you very much for the
Thank you,
opportunity.
Amelia. Appreciate you being here.
Same thing.
So I'm going to backtrack a little bit. I see, Nick, that you've joined us. So Nick Capazzi with the governor's office has joined us. And many of you know that they had been holding a number of work groups, one of which was workforce development. And this has been a topic of discussion for that group, although Nick is new to that process. But anything, so Nick, you want to introduce yourself real quickly, and anything else you want to share about that whole process?
Sure. Thanks, Steve. Nick Capozzi, good to recognize a lot of your names on here. I'm currently an operations advisor in the governor's office. I've been with the governor's office for about 3 years now, working kind of behind the scenes with a lot of broadband things. So, grant compliance, federal funding, et cetera, but happy to start joining these conversations and, engage with all of you and making sure that the success of our office is the success of all of you and getting all these households connected to broadband with all these abundance of programs that we have. So really appreciate it, Steve. Thanks for keeping these going and organizing. It's a great group of people on these calls, and we really look forward to continuing momentum on here.
Thanks. Thanks for joining us this morning, Nick. And I think I asked you, and I don't want to put you on the spot about what's next for the workshops that Maggie was coordinating.
Yes. So we are working closely with the Commerce Authority to make sure that those continue in some fashion. Most likely, they're going to be spearheaded by the Commerce Authority, being the broadband office in the state. The governor's office will be a part of those, but we feel at this point it probably makes the most sense for the broadband office to kind of have all angles of stakeholder engagement. So they'll be spearheading those. I think I see Aaron on the call here, Sandeep and Kelly Crucy, who is the community engagement manager at the broadband office, will be spearheading those calls. So we definitely want to keep those going. We saw they were very valuable, and I heard that a lot of you found value in them as well. So look forward to continuing those, and check your emails coming here in the next coming weeks on when the next meeting is going to be.
Okay, thanks, Nick, and thanks for being here this morning. Appreciate it. It's good to get acquainted with you. So, where did my T-Mobile people go? Oh, there you are, Marco. Marco and Damien. So I don't know. I'll leave it to you guys about who wants to kind of lead off. Glad to have you guys here. I think it'll be very helpful to hear about the $10 million program. How we can help, and related to that, and Damien is the kind of the K-12 education person for T-Mobile, and Marco is more on the corporate side. But for both of you, as you talk today, is how can, just the same question I just asked earlier, is how can we help? I know you reach out, but you know, you reach out to schools and stuff, but it may or may not get to other people that need to know about it. So we want to hear from both of you about, you know, kind of what outreach you've been doing and what and how we might be able to help. So with that, I'll leave it to whoever wants to take the lead.
Sure. I'll go ahead and start off. Marco and I do work hand in hand. We're partners here in Arizona. And so we pretty much take care of everything together. I do handle the schools primarily and the K through 12 space. I have a little presentation. It's like 5 slides.
Okay,
here.
go ahead, share.
I'll pop that up real fast and then I'll hand it over to Marco for him to kind of talk a little bit. Make sure you can see my screen here. See the little girl with the...
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Fantastic. So Project 10 Million was a project that T-Mobile came up with in 2020 to kind of help bridge that digital divide. You know, currently we have approximately 56 million households with children, nearly 15% of the households that do not have internet currently. So with this, with these statistics, we knew that there were some issues and we wanted to help you know, bridge that divide so that everybody has the same opportunity to succeed, you know, in the schools. Our commitment, you know, so far has been about $10.7 billion commitment in internet access to this program. Right now we're at about 7 million out of the 10 million that we wanted to achieve. So we're so far so good. We're getting, you know, getting there slowly but surely. And the houses that are eligible get up to 100 gigabytes of free internet per year. And I'll kind of explain what that gets you here in a second. These are the different, you know, programs that are available with the Project 10 Million. It is a free hotspot. With that free hotspot, they get 100 gigabytes per year. If that ends up not being enough, which I'll explain here on the next slide, there are other programs that they can just for $12 a month get, you know, an extra 100 gigabytes, or for the $15 a month get unlimited. Now, a nice thing about these hotspots, it isn't limited just to that child that has that hotspot at home. This also provides internet access for that whole family. You know, so if the whole family needed internet access, you know, this also helps them, which is a nice benefit also. So our mission is to help, you know, like I said, bridge that divide. This one kind of just goes over that same thing. So this kind of gives you an idea of what that 100 gigabytes of free data can give you. It's 140 hours of streaming school videos, 320 hours of online virtual learning, 5,000 hours of internet search time, and also 200 hours of college, you know, test prep time. If this is, you know, for the average student that's just using it on their own, this is usually enough. If the whole family is using it, they might consider one of those other packages, which are very affordable, $12 or the $15 package that ups their hours and time. So the schools that are eligible are typically Title I schools, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with that. They're the ones that are also the ones that have the free lunch programs. Those are also, so they're the schools that are in the most need. So these are the ones that, you know, everybody, excuse me, has their, you know, there's the kids that are out in the suburbs or out in the more rural areas that don't have the internet. And those are the ones that we're trying to reach to make sure that everybody has some connectivity, pretty much. And so basically what we're doing to reach out to people is, like you said, we reach out to the schools. I reach out to them on a daily basis. We have approximately, I think, about 100 schools in Arizona currently that are using this program. And we have plenty of space for more. And that's what we're doing currently. I know that you and I, Steve, also talked about the library hotspot program, and Marco can talk to that point a little bit because that's not directed directly at schools. That's a little bit more towards the public. So I'll let him kind of take off with that one for a minute.
No, definitely. Really appreciate it. It's good to see some of the names on here. I know quite a few of you probably know me from a previous uniform I used to wear. When I wound down my career with my previous employer, I was blessed enough to be able to take about 6 months off and really look around and see what else was there for me to do in the industry. I really enjoyed the industry. And T-Mobile just made absolute sense. man, they are really passionate about giving back to the community, and that's something that really spoke to me. Project 10 million, right, that Damon just went over. The nice thing, right, is that the parents can apply for it themselves. It's not just the schools that can apply, right? So most schools are going out at the, at the school district level. They'll apply for it, depending on the percentage of folks that either have free lunch or on SNAP, or there's a list of different programs you could be on. Then we'll send the school the devices and they'll pass them out to whoever's eligible. And it's good for 5 years. So we're not just doing 1 year. It's 5 years worth of free internet for the kids. But the parents themselves can actually apply. And that's why I'm working with the library systems to see if we can have flyers out there so that the community can take advantage of it. Because I really want the community to take advantage of it. If you cannot afford internet, we can give you free internet as long as you have a child that's in K through 12 that qualifies for different programs. The other conversations I'm having with the library systems is, hey, a lot of library systems are on 4G, including T-Mobile 4G. Let's get you out of that. Let's get you into 5G. So we as a company made a commitment to deliver 5G nationwide, and we have. Working on a couple of projects, just to share with you what that means, 5G out there. We also have an arm of the company. It's called T-Mobile Foundation. We're doing what's called a hometown grants. It's $50,000 for any town or city that is 50,000 population or less. Doesn't necessarily have to be technology, but you can apply for this. We've paid for some amphitheaters, to get redone, for the community to get together and have music at festivals and whatnot, and some other technology-based things as well. But the one thing that I really enjoy is I'm working with Clarkdale, actually, town of Clarkdale, Arizona. Just applied for it. We're waiting to hear back if they got the grant. What they're doing is deploying a bench similar to what I'm sitting at with a solar canopy so that the kids can actually charge their devices while they're at the playground, and also delivering Wi-Fi. And how can you deliver Wi-Fi in Clarkdale, Arizona? Well, when you have a network like T-Mobile delivering 700 megabytes to that location, you can do that. It doesn't matter how many people are going to be on the park. It's a smaller park, right? And the nice thing about it, what really gets me excited about it, is the community that's around it. It's a low-income community, right? So me having conversations with the town manager and saying, and also with parks, is, hey, how can we deliver internet for free to these folks? So, and it's just talking through that, right? Putting Wi-Fi points throughout the street that would allow these folks to have free internet that normally would not have access to it. So those are some of the things that we're really excited about doing with the community. Obviously, T-Mobile, everybody knows T-Mobile, but I'll tell you what, if you haven't tried T-Mobile in the last 4 or 5 months, you don't really know T-Mobile. One thing that I work with, so local government, first responder agencies as well, it's working through the perception that there's another network that's better than ours. And all I ask everybody is, hey, give me the opportunity. The proof is in the pudding, right? I'm pretty good about bringing out the dogs and the ponies and making them jump through hoops, but it's all about the proof in the pudding. So my goal always is to have folks try out our network and put it up against anybody. Not only are we delivering really good services, some outside of the box thinking type of services, but we care about the community also. That's the one thing that really attracted me to working for this company, is how much we're giving back to the community and really making an effort. So don't want it to turn into a commercial, but if you have any questions at all, myself and Damon are available. I work with city, county agencies as well as first responder agencies. But if you have any questions, if I'm not the one that's going to be handling your account or working with you, I'll definitely find out who it is, and we'll have some neat conversations with you.
So Marco here, we have a question from Walt. Walt says that he signed up online and never heard anything from anybody. Walt, can you expand on that a little bit? Was it for the Project 10 million that you signed up for and you never heard from anybody? Is that what you're referring to? Walt, are you there?
Hi, can you hear me?
Got you now. Yep.
Go. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I tried our hotspots, they stopped working. We were getting them from a small third-party venue. We had about 75 in the district, and then we had a We have a school that has more NSLP students that need more, but not too many more. We were hoping to get about 100 for our district, be very helpful. And I went on 10 million. I filled out the form on T-Mobile's website, but I never got any responses back. So I don't know if there was a communication problem or what. But.
So they have a whole team. They have like a team of 2 that covers the whole country.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. So now you have Marco and myself who handle Arizona. My territory is Arizona, New Mexico, and part of South Texas, and so you've got our attention. And so now that we're talking about this, we'll definitely get on that and figure out exactly. So were these hotspots actually through T-Mobile already, and they're just not working any longer, or these are somebody else's hotspots and you're just trying to replace them?
We're trying to replace them. They were through a third party. I'm not exactly sure who the carrier is because I'm new to the district, but I think it was Verizon.
Okay. What's your district?
Sonoran Schools.
Sonoran Schools. All right. So instead of like maybe us doing this while everybody else is listening, why don't I just get your info and and then we'll just talk offline and get this straightened out. So Sonoran Schools, Walt, what's your phone number?
How about I'll put it in the chat.
Perfect. And an email.
Damien, I think I sent that. I think I sent it to you. He's the person I spoke to you about.
Okay, so I have that in my email already, maybe?
I believe so.
Okay, I will look for that. Well, and then, sorry, Marco, didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No worries. Well, number one, I apologize on behalf of T-Mobile that nobody got back to you. That's not acceptable. We will make sure that we get with y'all and get you squared away.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Steve, for helping me out with this. It's very important to my district. So.
Sure.
Awesome.
Glad to help, Walt. So any questions or comments for Damien or Marco?
So Marco, I heard you mention FirstNet. Thanks for your service there. I was the first general manager of FirstNet back in the day. So appreciate what you're doing today for the communities as well. Steve, I just want to mention one thing. We put the deck in the chat, so anybody wants to drag that down, it's there.
Okay.
And Marco and Damien, you guys are both in Tucson, or Marco, you're up in Phoenix, and Damien, you're here in Tucson?
You got it. That's right.
I am all over the state. I'm in Kingman today. Tomorrow I'm going to be, where am I going to be tomorrow? I think I'm going to be in Flagstaff tomorrow. I'm going to be in Tucson next week. I'm all over. I drive 800 miles a week. No joke. I have all of rural Arizona, including some big cities like Tucson.
He got a car he got a Tesla just to drive all over the state.
Okay, well, I'm glad you guys finally made it, and we're glad to have you here today. And hopefully, if we can help you to get the word out to folks, let me know what we can do to help.
Absolutely.
Okay, moving on.
So we're gonna. I know I'm dropping off. So thanks for everybody's attention and time, and look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Great, thanks, Damien.
Thanks.
I know.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So I know Mava's not here. She had a sore throat and then she had a conflicting meeting. Anthony, do you have anything with the state library? And Megan Hammond, you guys have anything for the state library?
Hey, Steve. Good to be here. Yeah, I just wanted to share really quick that we have an opening with the Connect Arizona program for one of our digital navigator positions. So that is open right now. I'll go ahead and post a link to our posting for that position. And I'd love if anyone here can share that with folks that they think would be interested. It's 20 hours a week. It's $20 an hour, 20 hours a week. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So please share that with anyone you think would be interested.
Anthony, can you introduce yourself quickly, please?
Yeah, sorry. I'm Anthony Costantini, digital inclusion consultant with the Arizona State Library.
Thanks, Anthony. Megan, do you have anything else with the state library?
I'm Megan Hammond. I'm the Library Development Administrator. I just wanted to mention that next week is the the American Library Association Conference. And I will be presenting in San Diego with Nicole about, and several others about the digital equity efforts in Arizona and how we have leveraged federal funding in the past to support this. So that will be a week from Saturday.
Great. Okay, any other questions or comments? John, are you still online? I think you left. Okay, any other announcements anybody has before we end for today?
My question for Bill was, are your members individuals or are they business owners and industry sector people? Can an individual be a member so that they could have access to professional development?
Let me take that one, Bill. Our industry members are the large folks like the T-Mobiles that were just on the call. So like T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T are some of the operators. We also have infrastructure providers like American Tower, Crown Castle, Vertical Bridge, as well as some of the equipment manufacturers, for example, like Ericsson. So again, our members are some of the larger companies, but when we think about workforce development, individuals are welcome to access our Telecommunications Education Center website and take courses individually or some of the core curriculums that we have available. We also serve as some of the enterprise. So we may have organizations that come to us that want their teams to have foundational training or some more technical training, and we try to bulk and bundle the price so that there's a better offering, you know, so multiple people can take the courses. Courses are also offered at K through 12 technical, vocational, 2-year, 4-year university systems as well. Does that answer the question?
Totally, thank you.
You're welcome.
Cindy, do you have an announcement you want to make?
Sure. Good morning. I just wanted to introduce myself. I haven't been able to get here as often as I used to. I'm Cindy Hogan with the Arizona Digital Inclusion Network. We're working to advance digital equity and inclusion across Arizona. And we meet twice a month on Thursdays at noon. And our meetings are for people who are doing digital inclusion work, like teaching digital literacy or taking part in digital navigator systems or device refurbishing, all the key things that help people get on and stay online once they actually have broadband. And yeah, this month and our recent work, we're kind of taking a cue from the digital equity plan implementation and trying to do a lot of outreach and partnership building for the grants coming up. We're also preparing for Digital Inclusion Week, which is in October, and trying to have some things that are happening across the state to still keep the Arizona informed about what digital inclusion is and how important it is, not just to the individual people, but to society at large. I think we're all impacted when not everyone is online in a meaningful way, in the way that they need to be to take care of their lives. So those are the things that we're working on. I'll put my email in the chat if anyone wants to attend a meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. And Vaughn, are you still there? Vaughn, are you there? Vaughn, I see you online, but I'm not hearing you. Okay, well, I think we're done for today unless anybody has anything else. As you know, we do kibitzing afterwards. If you want to stay online, we'll stop the video, and if you want to chat about anything or have questions, and if not, we'll be done for today. So thank you all for being here. Lucy, we need to catch up on some things. Okay, thank you all.
Ciao.